Hi, welcome back. Congress is making moves towards approving a $4 trillion budget blueprint to handle a number of different issues. So let's talk numbers. That's why we have financial analyst Steve Budin here with us. Steve, thanks for joining us and good morning to you. Trillion dollars, 4 trillion. Let's put into perspective just how much money that is.
The viewers need some perspective on this. They're throwing around $1 trillion like it's nothing. So I came up with I think a pretty easy way to help understand this. If you were to spend $1 per second and you had $1,000, it would take you about 17 minutes to spend that money. If you had $1 million, it would take you 12 days to spend that money. If you had $1 billion, it would take you 31 years to spend that money. If you had $1 trillion and you spent $1 a second, it would take you close to 32,000 years to spend that kind of money. And here's Congress preparing to potentially spend up to $4 trillion. Now, mind you, this hasn't been passed into law yet, and we'll keep the viewers updated on this, but that is an extremely unprecedented large sum of money that's never been done in human recorded history.
It hasn't been passed yet, but we know that America is already technically in debt. So if we add on to that number, how does that impact us?
Yeah, the average American right now, based on the national debt, is close to $80,000 in debt. You don't see it because it's not in any of your bank accounts, but that's what the government owes. So this type of spending increase will only increase that debt. And we'll talk about the consequences of that maybe in later segments. But for now, I think locally, the average viewer, if this type of bill gets passed into law, and $4 trillion gets spent. Number one, it won't be spent all at once. It's almost impossible to do that. But if you think of it in small terms where the government might be spending money on infrastructure or road or bridge projects, if the contractors that are building those bridges or roads are bidding on those projects and they know that there's this large amount of money coming in, they may raise their bids, like they may raise their prices, which generally could cost it's called inflation. Now, the business will raise their price to the government to build that bridge. Now, the employees that work for that company may or may not see wage increases. That's really up to the business. But generally, the theory is if all this money comes in, prices will generally rise because if that money is spent, the inherent nature of business is to raise prices when that money's coming in.
All right, one that we're going to be watching as it continues to pass through Congress, and we'll be sure to bring you updates on air and online at KTNV.com. That's all the time that we have for today. We'll be right back after this.